Hi. So you want to move from your home country to the Philippines and build a house as a foreigner. Well, I did, or I started about 4 months ago. You see behind, that's where we are with our home build here in Angeles City, Philippines. If you're interested to see how I did it, then stay tuned. I'm gonna go over here and have a seat. I'm one of those guys that can't walk and chew bubble gum at the same time, and I don't want to lose my train of thought. So those of you who are first-time viewers and may not know, my name is Jeff. I'm an American, and my family and I moved here to the Philippines in January of 2024. We started building this house behind me about 4 months ago. So before we get started on some tips that I can provide you on how to move here to the Philippines and build a house, I just want to throw out a disclaimer. These steps that I'm about to go over are my steps, the steps that I took. There are numerous expats with their own stories, and they have their own steps and their own way that they did things. Some may be consistent with what I'm about to cover, and some may be completely opposite. So the steps may work for you, or they may not work for you. They're in the order that I did them. And you'll see in some cases there's a little bit of bleed over between the different steps. So your steps may not be the same as mine, or they may be in slightly different order. But I guess the first thing that you need to do is assess your decision to move. Do you really want to move overseas? Do you want to move to the Philippines? It's a big step, and spending some time here on vacation is a lot different than actually living here. Are you going to be able to adjust your lifestyle? Those of you who have spent some time here, whether on vacation or live here, you know that there's a lot of different cultural differences. In some cases, a little bit of a language barrier, though a lot of Filipinos speak English. But is that something that you're going to be able to adjust to? Some people adjust to it a little bit easier than others, but some people have a difficult time with it. So the next step is your financial situation. Great. So your finances and work. Are you financially able to retire or leave your home country right now? Some of you may think that you'll be able to get a job here in the Philippines. Some people are able to get jobs, but I can tell you that it is difficult for a foreigner to get a job here. Unless you're working for a big international company, or the federal government, maybe you get a job down at the U.S. Embassy, or as a defense contractor with a lot of the Department of Defense interaction with the Philippine military. There's some contract jobs that have been opening up, but or you just are financially at a point in your life that you're able to pull the plug and retire. And then, your finances, how much are you going to be able to make from all of the items that you have in your house? If you're like me, I lived in the Washington, D.C. suburbs, Northern Virginia, and I lived in a house about 18 years with my wife and daughter, and it was a big house. It was 4,300 square feet, and over the 18 years we've accumulated a lot of crap, like most people do in the U.S. We succumb to that whole thing, make more money, spend more money, buy more stuff, and we had a lot of stuff. So for me, it was about a year out that we started to sell our items in charity. Facebook Marketplace was very helpful, but that helped with the finances as well. So that's something that you have to take a look at. Selecting a location here in the Philippines. You got to do your research. Research. There's no substitute for boots on the ground. You don't want to pick a location without ever setting foot in the Philippines or without having any knowledge of the lay of the land. So you do your research. You got to do some trips. Did several trips here. I spent a lot of time here. I was in the military, and I spent some time here in the military. Was able to experience a lot of different areas, and focused, or we zeroed in on this area, Angeles City area, which is right outside of the old U.S. Air Force Base, Clark. But you got to do your homework and figure out where it is you want to move. You got to formulate a plan. Set a timeline for when you want to quit work or retire. A timeline for liquidating all of your assets. I mentioned I gave myself about a year to start liquidating all of the stuff that we accumulated in our house, and we had a lot of stuff. And then we shipped 33 balikbayan boxes over here, which are the big jumbo boxes. And of the 33, it was probably 30 too many. In hindsight, we could have probably did it with much less than 33. But got rid of everything in the U.S., cars. We sold our cars, motorcycle. Was able to use that money to start here. Sold our house. And my timeline also factored in the housing market in Northern Virginia. And those of you in the U.S. know that the housing market is constantly in flux and ups and downs. But if you have the time, you might be able to time it just right. I was able to time it just right, and I did pretty good on selling the house that I lived in for 18 years. Good time to sell a house in the States is like April, May, June. That seems to be a good time to sell a house, and that's when I put mine on the market. I think it was June or July is when we put it on the market. But that should be all part of your plan. Are you going to need temporary housing? Are you going to need temporary housing in the U.S.? Are you going to need temporary housing here in the Philippines? So I'm currently in a house, 3-bedroom house, about 300 square meters, which is, I guess, close to 3,000 square feet. But that includes all enclosed space, so there's a big carport and a little area in the back, little patio in the back. And relatively close. I'm probably about a half a kilometer from the construction site across the street. So I walk over here, I take my scooter over here on a daily basis. The next step you're gonna have to do is buy a lot. And if you're watching this and you've done any research, then you know you have to be a Filipino in order to own land here in the Philippines. I just assumed that everybody would know that. Well, I wouldn't assume that everybody knows that are watching it, but yeah, you need to be a Filipino to own property or to own land here. But before you buy land, again, you got to do research. Research is very, very important. You got to talk to people, talk to expats, talk to real estate agents, brokers, figure out where you want to go. Find out what the going rate is for property. Anybody that's done any research or has watched the real estate market here in the Philippines, it seems like it's been on a steady incline for many years. But you want to make sure that you're researching that. Again, you got to have eyes on. Never, let me say this again, never ever buy property without actually seeing it. I know people, I've heard horror stories about people who've bought property online. You just don't want to do it. You have a family member who's looking for property for you, that's fine, but I wouldn't pull the trigger. I'd recommend not pulling the trigger until you actually see it for yourself and make sure that it's exactly what you want and it's where you want. The next step is to select an architect and a builder. Very, very important step. I hear so many people here in the Philippines say, well, I know a guy who knows a guy. I have a friend who has a friend who builds. He can build you a very cheap house. You get what you pay for here, so you got to do your research. Unlike in the West, a lot of businesses use Facebook or Instagram to advertise their business. So if you don't have a Facebook or Instagram account, you probably want to get one so you can start looking for an architect or builder or other types of businesses that you may be looking to get support from. But I did that, and I got to warn you, here in the Philippines, don't know what it is, but a lot of businesses aren't very responsive to emails or phone calls. So I reached out to probably 10 architects and probably the equal amount of builders. And out of those 10, multiple attempts, emails, and phone calls, probably only 6 or 7 contacted me back. And out of those that contacted me back, did some research on them, talked to other expats about them, narrowed it down to 3 or 4, and then actually set up interviews and had interviews with several different builders and several different architects. So you want to make sure that you do that, and you know going in about how much it's going to be, so you have a baseline as to what to expect and what to negotiate with. But interviews are very important. During this entire process, you need to stay engaged, get smart on building. Those of you that have watched some of my other videos know that I don't have a background in building, but you have to learn, at least know the basics, and you have to stay engaged. Stay engaged in the architectural process, from the design all the way up to the build and to completion. You got to check and double check things. Not to say that anybody's dishonest here, but you just have to double check things. And I'm getting attacked by red ants. If you're wondering why I'm moving around here, red ants all over the place. Probably not the best place for me to sit down and do this, but so check and double check. And what I will tell you, probably the most important piece to all of this is bring a great big box of patience. This is not the West. They have a completely different way of doing business here. And those of you who spent some time here know that. And again, it's a little different living here versus coming here on vacation. Not to say it's the wrong way, but they do things completely different here. Nothing happens quickly. Nothing happens quickly. And whether you are having a problem with your air conditioning or your internet and you call to have it serviced or have somebody to come troubleshoot it, it's unlikely they're going to come the day that they told you they were going to come. And the same thing with building. There's just a lot of different things going on and happening. So you really have to stay patient. There's a term here in the Philippines, it's called bahala na. It sort of means like it is what it is. So I tried to stay away from that in regards to the build, and I've told my builder that I don't want any bahala na when it comes to building. But the reality is, here in the Philippines, a lot of things are bahala na, and you may have to adopt that attitude in some cases, the bahala na. So yeah, those were the steps that I took. 8 steps. I think there were 8 in there. They may work for you, they may not work for you. Just sort of just some information to help you get started. Again, the disclaimer, throwing a disclaimer out there. This isn't the end-all be-all way of packing up and moving to the Philippines. But if you're interested in that, I have several videos. I have a video of us downsizing our house in Northern Virginia in preparation for the move over here. In addition to the downsizing video in Northern Virginia, I have some videos. I think I posted 12 videos so far. I'm a new vlogger, I guess. Still sort of getting used to talking to the camera. Yeah, I'm smiling because as a new vlogger, I'm also have some technical challenges with working some of this equipment. So I'm using an iPhone and a gimbal, but the gimbal's been acting up the whole time I've been over here. So I'm finishing up holding the video. Again, if you are interested in being reminded when new videos come out, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit like. If you would be interested in seeing the progress of the 4 months of the home build behind us, you can go to my page on YouTube and check those out. But thanks for joining. Hope you have a wonderful day, and hopefully I will get this gimbal and technical issues resolved for the next video. So take care.